Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Vann Underwood Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I'm checking out a 2018, this is the new JL, 2018 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited in the Sport trim level. Now this isn't a super basic Sport. This one has quite a bit of options, which I'll detail later on in the video. So let's go ahead and get started. This Wrangler is sitting on 245/75 Bridgestone tires wrapped around 17-inch alloy wheels with a silver finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated disc rotors in the front and solid disc rotors in the back. The name of this color is Firecracker Red, and you'll have to excuse the pollen. It's pollen season. That's one thing. Another thing is this Jeep is actually fresh off the truck. It hasn't even been washed. Some of the stickers and some of the wrapping is still on it, so I just wanted to get it to you as soon as I could. So looking at here at the front, you can see it has the black fenders, flat black fenders, and the plastic over the bumper. It's also a flat, durable flat black. Halogen powered fog lights as well as headlights. It has a little Jeep in there, a little Jeep grill. You can see the grill is a little bit different this year, with the headlights a little bit bigger, bulging into the 7-slot grill. Has the tow hooks protruding out as well. So looking at the profile, you can see this is the soft top. You notice the soft top has this kind of like this bulge up here, kind of bulging up. It's not completely flat like the hard top, and the reason why is that there's a new system for folding back the soft top, which I'll have a time lapse a little bit later in the video showing you how easy it is and how quick you can lower the top, take the back panels off and lower it. You can also take these back portions off here and just drive around like a safari type vehicle. It's pretty neat. But overall, you see it has the black handles and the exposed hinges for the doors, as well as the tailgate has that as well. Also, the wheel wells are opened up a little bit, so you can actually put 35s on this vehicle without doing any modifications from the factory, which is pretty neat. And then, of course, you have the new vent there, which is functional, by the way. You can still fold down the windshield. Now you notice it has the bumpers and the latches all in one piece, but in previous models you had these complicated bolt pattern that you had to take out. Now there's simply 4 bolts back in here from the inside that you take out, and you can of course take the windshield wipers off and you fold it down, and then actually you can take the Torx bit that comes with the vehicle and unscrew these screws and take the windshield completely off if you want to. It's pretty neat. It's really easy, and it's made out of aluminum, so it's fairly light, but you will need, it's a 2-man job basically. So there's a few Easter eggs. Little Jeep, little Army Jeep climbing the corner here. There's also some flip-flops right in here that's kind of hard to get the right angle to see them, but they're there. Now there's one thing that a lot of people here recently that I've talked to have commented on, and that is the large key. It has a new key for the Wrangler, and it is just a large and kind of heavy key. It does have the flip out physical key, but it is a push button start standard on the Wrangler. This one doesn't have the proximity system as far as opening up the doors, so you will have to use it to lock and unlock. It does have the remote start and panic, but just want to show you compared to my key for my Challenger, which is a pretty good size key fob to begin with, the size comparison. So you can see it's much bigger, and you know, it's a little bit heavier as well. So something it just definitely gets noticed, and so you have to be prepared for that as far as, you know, if this is a key you're going to carry around with you, how are you going to carry it, and you know, because it is pretty bulky. Okay, so let's take a look on the inside, starting with the passenger side. I just want to point out that the handles no longer have to push that button to open it up. You just pull on it like so. It also has on the driver and passenger, a physical key tumbler there. Okay, so the inside of the door, pretty much mostly in this trim, is hard touch plastics, except for here. This is your armrest, extends all the way here. The rest of it is that that durable plastic. You have the net pocket at the bottom, pocket right here, and then you have this little place to get a grip on the door when you're lifting it off the hinges when you remove the door. And then the doors are made out of aluminum as well. And they do have a door stop. So as you open the door, it will, if you pull it out to about that point. See, like the older Jeeps, it just was free on the hinges. And what I'm talking about is this piece right here, which this is your cables, and this keeps the door from extending all the way. But before, it was, the door was just swing around. So if the wind was blowing, it'll make it move. So this way, you move it out to about right there and let go. It'll kind of snap back. You have to get it out to about right there, and then it stays there. Move it a little bit further, and it snaps to right there. So that's your position that goes all the way out, and it holds the door there for you, which is nice. Previous model Wranglers, when I'm filming, the wind would kind of blow the door on me as I'm filming, so this is a little bit nicer. So you have the handle there for all 4 doors, actually, to enter the vehicle. This one doesn't have a step or rock rails or anything. It's just completely open. Cloth, manually adjusted cloth seats here on the passenger side. Here's your floor space. Floor mats hook in place. That one's actually just laying there. It's not hooked in place yet. Then you have the hard touch dash, as well as here. It's like a gray color right in that center portion. Then you have the handle with the rubberized portion in the center. So right in here is grippy and rubberized. And then you have the exposed bolts. Lockable glove compartment. About the same size as before. Smooth plastic on the inside. And I also want to mention, you see these snaps here. This one, and you'll see one here under the seat. Right there. You can actually remove the carpet out of the Jeep, so that way, you know, if you're taking the top off and you know it's going to get rained on the inside, then you can get a little bit prepared for that. And from what I understand, a lot of the controls here are all water resistant or waterproof, so that way, you know, there won't be any damage to the electronics of the vehicle if it gets rained in. So this one has the privacy glass in the soft top as well as the back doors. All right, the inside of the back door, same thing as the front door, pretty much hard plastics here, and then you have the soft armrest, but the rest of it's hard plastic, pocket right there, and then a lift off on the bottom, net pocket on the bottom. There's the pockets on the back of the front seats. A little bit of a hump there in the center. I'm actually surprised at the legroom of the 4-door Wranglers. I mean, there's a lot of room here. Then you have some cup holders, power window controls, and some rear climate control vents. Now this is a bench seat. And some of the other trim levels have an armrest that folds down. This one doesn't, but it does fold down so you can add to your cargo space. It also has the latch or ISOFIX system for car seats. So sitting in the back seat, it seems a little bit more comfortable than previous years. It may just be my imagination, but I'm 6 feet tall and I have plenty of foot and leg room. And the speakers here, there's actually 2 speakers on the inside of each one of these grills. Then you have a dome light here with, check it out, 4 tap lights. So you have some, if you want to read something without interfering with the driver, you can have a directional little LED light aimed in your direction, and even the driver can have one aimed in that direction. Just kind of have a light shining right there in your lap so you can read something. And you see the little bit of space here that you will not find in the hardtop. The hardtop's more flat, but this one has that extra space up there. Okay, so we're moving around to the back of the Jeep, and you see the soft top there. Spare tire, full-size spare tire, just like previous years. It also has a backup camera. And from the factory, it also comes with, or this one did, came with the wheel lock for the spare tire and the wheels. You can see the exposed hinges here for the tailgate. So it has standard bulbs here for the tail lights. And you have a tow hook on this left side. You notice the tag is down on the bumper now. There's your exhaust. Now the backup camera is locking on there, and this is a metal material too. And the third brake light, you can raise, it's adjustable, so you can raise or lower it depending on what size spare tire you have back here. This opens up pretty far. There's a furthest position here. And right here looks like you can actually put a drink or a water bottle or something right there. It has this little badge, this aluminum riveted plate. Kind of like the old military Jeeps, showing you the some dimensions, also the water fording capabilities. Okay, so here's your cargo area, and this soft top is fairly easy to take off. So you can pull this out. I'm not going to do it one-handed holding the camera, but you pull this out, unlatch down here and around the sides, and this slides out one side or the other to get this out of your way. So it's not that hard. Okay, so I went ahead and took off the back panel, and like I mentioned before, later on in the video, like towards the end, I'll have a time lapse of me showing how easily they just come right off, and reinstall. I'll take them off, fold the top, and then reinstall everything, just so you can get an idea of how easy it is. So the roll cage is body colored, so you can see the outside there is red in this case, since we have a red Wrangler. So as you take the top off, you fold it down, you have the red roll bars, you know, that are visible. It's looking pretty cool. Here on the right side. So the you know, if you had the Alpine sound system, you'd have the subwoofer over here. If it was a two-door, you'd have the subwoofer down on the floor like previous models. 12-volt power supply. Now you notice it has a little battery here. The battery is showing you that this is connected to the battery without, you don't have to turn the ignition on for this power adapter to work. So that way you can plug it in and use it without starting the vehicle or turning it on. So folding these seats down, you can fold down one or the other, add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. You can see the split right there is a 60-40 split. Or you can fold both of them down and get a lot of room. So when you fold down the seats, there's actually two latches. One is to lower just the headrest. So if you want more visibility, you can just do that. Or you could pull this other lever, which lowers the headrest and folds the seat. So that way it folds down. So you can see it kind of sandwiches itself down into the floor to give you the best cargo capacity, so there's no wasted space. So now I have a lot more cargo capacity, and still I can still have a backseat driver. But look how much room I have now that I folded both of them down. It is tremendous. Now there's more space under here, cargo space. Now this is a storage compartment that is has a drain. So if there's water that puddles up in here, you can release this drain and release it. Another thing is this is actually locking. So as we close this up and close the tailgate and lock the tailgate, this will keep this secure as well. You also have a place to keep your bolts for your door hinges, your roof, and your windshield secure under here as well, and organized so you don't get them mixed up. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it has the traditional cap with a little tether there. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, or just laying in the cup holder. As long as it's inside, you just put your foot on the brake and push this button. Now this is a rubberized, kind of rubberized surface button. There's a lot of controls that are kind of rubber, have this rubber texturing to them in this vehicle. So I'm gonna pay attention to the screen because there's a neat little animation when it starts up. So check it out. You can notice that little Jeep driving across the bottom, and it looks pretty neat. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. There's your accelerator and brake pedal. So if you were to have a manual transmission, right here would be the pedal for the clutch, and it would not leave you a whole lot of leg room. So just something to keep in mind. The new hood latches are fantastic. So go ahead and pull that down like so, and you notice it has this metal bar that goes across the top. All you have to do is push down and it'll release out. So it has this little rubber piece right in there to keep it secure, but it's kind of spring-loaded. But once you release the tension, it's really easy to remove. So we pull it down. Another thing is this doesn't go all the way down and hit the fender. So we just push down and release it like so. Okay, so basically one-handed, I'm able to do it. Now the hood, there's a latch right here in the center. You just move it to the right. You see it right here, and you can lift the hood. Now it does require a prop. The prop is actually located on the underside of the hood, and it swings down and goes right here. The underside of the hood is insulated. You also have an insulated firewall and an insulated battery here. You can see it has that seal and sound insulation there on the back between the hood and the basically the driver cockpit area. There's some fresh air intake. So this has a 3.6 liter V6 paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And I'll leave all the specs and details, horsepower, torque, gear ratios, all the detailed specs in the description so you can check it out. But one thing I want to point out, I mean, it has a different cover this year, but it's basically the same engine as previous years. But the oil filter is actually right there, so it's easy to get to. Before they would have a cover, but then have like a little hole in the top of the cover, or you have to remove the cover. This way you can access it a little bit easier. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the passenger side, except for it has the side mirror adjustments right here. Heated side mirrors. Okay, so here's the controls for the manual driver's seat. So it has a height adjustment. The adjustment to move forward and back is up in the front as normal. This is the tilt, the back of the seat, and then this is a lumbar adjustment. So it has a rubber grip, so does this. Here to the left of the steering column, you have the headlight controls. You have automatic, on, parking light, and off, and then this button right here is for the fog lights. Dimmer switch for the interior gauges, as well as the all the interior lights, which if you click it all the way up, it'll turn all the lights on. This one is for the ambient lighting in the vehicle, your floorboard and you know, backlit buttons, that kind of stuff. It also has a tilt and telescoping steering column, so you notice the levers right there, easy to see, easy to get to. Just move it down. You can position the steering wheel the way you want it, and you lock it in place. Okay, sitting in the driver's seat, checking it out. I really like, I mean, for a sport, it has a lot of features. And I'll show you the window sticker and detailed all the optional and standard features, but it's amazing. Just the overall styling is just a really upfitted type vehicle in the new design. Okay, so I have the seat all the way back, and this is probably where I'd drive it. I'm 6 feet tall, and there's no footrest here, so that's kind of, my foot's kind of just hanging there. Now of course, you know, if you had a manual transmission, you need that extra space for the clutch. So what I'd probably do is just kind of prop my leg up this way. Okay, so looking at the steering wheel, this one has the leather wrap steering wheel. and it's soft to the touch. The thickness is really good. There's no significant texture, but it is nice. The thickness is really good in this. It is soft. Cruise control is here on the right side. Volume for your radios on the back, as well as a center button for your changing through your audio source. On the back of the steering wheel back here is changing through your radio stations or your media tracks, and then the center button is for cycling through your presets on your radio. Bluetooth controls are here with your voice recognition, which has a very advanced voice recognition system. It's well worth learning how to use that. And these buttons here correspond with the screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a minute. Windshield wiper controls are here, turn signal and headlight dimmer switch there. And check it out. So definitely a different view in the new Wrangler here. A lot more modern looking. So you have the RPMs there on the left, speedometer there on the right. It's pretty basic and simple, easy to read, easy to focus on. The numbers are nice and big, so you can see them transitioning your eyes from the road to the gauges here. But check out the center screen. I'm gonna actually use these buttons right here, and we're gonna go through some stuff. Well, for one thing, it has some customizable things on the corner here. So right now it has the digital compass, has the outside temperature. These are fixed here with the engine coolant temperature and the fuel gauge, but the ones on the corners, you can customize that and change that to other things. So the big digital speedometer in the center, as I push down, you'll see that's part of a menu system. So that actually goes away. So that's the first option. Going down goes to vehicle info, which you can get more information there. So your tire pressure. Scrolling to the right, you get coolant temperature, different temperatures and pressures, as well as your voltage. Scrolling down again, this is where we have the drivetrain, whether in four-wheel drive or not, and then the pitch and roll. We're at a very slight pitch and roll right now in the parking lot, as you can see at 1 degree. Scrolling down again, this is where you'll find your fuel economy information, real time and average. Now this is more useful to me. The trip. So you have 2 trips. Now it measures your miles, but also your miles per gallon during that trip, and also the time elapsed during that time that was traveled. And you have 2 of them, so you can reset them independently. Scrolling down again, this is your stop-start feature. This is a feature that is will stop the engine while you're just sitting at a stoplight or a stop sign for an extended period of time. Now certain parameters have to be met, and this is letting you know what parameter is not met right now. You can turn that feature off, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Scrolling down, this is just whatever your radio is doing. Stored messages will show up here, and screen setup. This is where you can change those things on the corners, and you can go in there. Let's say you want to choose the upper left. We can choose a compass, outside temperature, time, range to empty, average miles per gallon, current miles per gallon, trip A and trip B distances, or just nothing there. We'll just leave it at compass for now. And then you scroll down again, and we have the big digital speedometer again. Now some people ask me, with the push button start, how do you turn on just the accessories without starting it? You just push the button without putting your foot on the brake. So let's go ahead and, well, I'll do that later. But anyways, you turn it off, and then if you don't have your foot on the brake, you push the button the first time, it will put in the accessory mode, like your radio playing and stuff like that. You push it again without your foot on the brake, it'll put it in run mode, so it's going to turn all your electronics on, which will drain your battery more, but it won't start the engine. So it's just like, you know, clicking the key, except for you're not starting the engine, basically. And then to start it, of course, you put your foot on the brake and it'll start. Okay, so there's a storage pocket right up in here, rubber lined. Has these little pockets on the ends, a big one in the center. Then you have the speakers that are flush, and this is the hard plastic dash. and this rubberized material here, and then the smooth plastics on the ends. So this is your touchscreen. It's the 7-inch touchscreen, which acts and behaves as and has a lot of the features as the 8-inch touchscreen, which is really nice. It's the clarity of the screen is good, fantastic actually, and it's just a little bit smaller. So right now we have, you can see the icons across the bottom. This is what I'm going to cycle through. Right now we're on the radio screen. So the radio screen gives you AM, FM, satellite radio options with your presets there at the top. We go to the media. Not right now, there's nothing plugged in, but it has access to 2 USB ports, an auxiliary and Bluetooth audio sources. All right. Climate is your next icon here. So you have your driver and passenger dual zone climate control. You can sync those. There's your fan speed, where you want the air to blow, your front and rear defrosters, and you recirculate the air. And I like the way they have the little Jeep shape of the, usually there's like a little car or something like that. This actually has the Jeep, which is cool. And this button right here takes you to your controls. You see it's a quick link over to your controls, where you have your heated seat, heated steering wheel, backup camera, and then you have your heated seat for the passenger. See, it's a high, medium, low 3-stage. And I like the way you can see the backup camera without putting it in reverse. And the clarity of this backup camera is like one of the best. Settings, we'll go into that while we're here. Just gonna show you the different things that you can adjust. Alright, so let's go back to climate. So you can see that was the little shortcut here. Takes you to this controls. But this is the apps, which we need to get into. So this vehicle has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability. You will have to plug in the device to the USB drive, and then that way it'll install the appropriate software. But these are different icons basically, so I'm gonna show you all of them here. But let's say we want to see that the controls here. Let's say we want to take this backup cam and we'll put it down here. Now we can have the backup camera here instead of the controls. So that way we can choose what we want down here as well using these icons. And that way anytime we push that, we see the backup camera. This is handy, checking on, like say a trailer or something like that, or just generally just checking behind you. Alright, the phone is next. We don't have one paired, but once you pair your phone, of course, you have your favorites at the top. You'll have caller ID, your phone book, recent calls. You'll even be able to transfer it back to your cell phone if you want to have a private call. And then you have the settings, which we saw before. Alright, so let's go back to there. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea, it's really easy to use. There's a lot of features, and it's just a well designed. I think Uconnect systems are probably one of the best systems on the market as far as easy to use and functional. You have a physical volume knob, and it's actually rubberized, and a tune through the stations knob here, which also cycle through audio tracks. So like if you put in a USB drive or phone or whatever, if you're playing songs through the system, you can bump to the next song just by turning that knob. And then your fan speed for your climate controls here. Then you have your temperatures, heated seat, heated steering wheel, front and rear defrosters, where you want the air to blow, recirculate the air. Even has the little Jeep shape as well. You see some exposed bolts here, looking pretty cool. So you have some redundancy as far as your climate control down here. So that way you don't always have to go into the screen to make quick adjustments. 4-way flashers are right in here. You can mute the radio. You can turn the screen off if you want to. Now this is a downhill descent button. This is for off-road use only on slippery surfaces. It's kind of like a cruise control. It keeps you at a set speed going downhill without sliding too fast. Your stop-start feature, you can turn that off. You will need to do that manually every time you get in the vehicle and start it up. You can go ahead and turn that off. And then your traction control is default on, but you can turn it off in case you need to spin wheels. Down here is a 12-volt power supply. You notice it has the key on it, so it will turn on and off with the ignition. And your power window controls are here. So the front two are one touch down, but you will have to hold it to go back up. and the back two are, you know, basically you have to push it down and hold it for the back windows. And you can turn the power windows off if you want to, so you don't have kids playing around with them. And then you have this cover here, and it has a rubberized seal. This is where you'll find your auxiliary input and your USB and a USB-C input here as well. And also, of course, you can plug in a cell phone and charge it. You don't always have to play media off of them. And there's a storage shelf here. Now this goes in just enough to where you can put in a cell phone or whatever. Has a little bit of a lip, and it's rubberized, so if you put your cell phone in there, keep it from falling out easy. Four-wheel drive controls are here. So you have two-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive high, neutral, and four-wheel drive low. So it's a manual stick. And then the shifter, nice big shifter. You have the boot down here, and it's a red button on the back side. I don't know if you can see that. And then you have the old military Jeep on top. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse. Now the backup camera, the lines are actually active guidelines here. So as I turn the steering wheel, it will turn those lines as well. There's neutral, drive, and you can always put it in manual mode to downshift or upshift. You'll know what gear you're in because it'll show right up here. You can always put it back in drive at any time, basically, while you're driving. Alright, so here's the handbrake, parking brake, and this has a little bit of a rubberized handle. Cup holders. There's the key, just a big key in there. And then there's a place to put business cards or cell phone or whatever right in the center portion. It's all open here in the center, so you can utilize this space for more than just keys. You can put your cell phone laying in here or whatever. It's very versatile, and it's rubberized, so it's not like whatever you put in there, it's going to be kind of protected from rattling and bumping and stuff. Here's your armrest, nice and soft. Lift it up. And this top portion has a small little tray here with a rubberized bottom plate. And then there's places for wires to go in and out. Bottom portion is the larger area. Has plenty of space for all kinds of junk. Now this is locking, by the way. So this is a USB port in here as well. And you see the use the physical key here to lock it, just like you would the glove compartment. Rear view mirror is manual day and night mode. Now the visors have these little clips here. They have lights, nice soft LED lights with mirrors. And they're actually made, what it feels like to me, I think I figured it out. It's a hard plastic with a textured vinyl covering on the outside. They also extend out. And they have the HomeLink garage door opener control on the other side. So while I'm looking up here, I'm going to show you these latches. These are super easy to unlatch. And so you'll see later in the time lapse, when I move this top back, it's really easy. But as far as the latch here, that's it. That's all you got to do. It's almost too easy to unhook that. Let me do that again. I'll rehook it. So basically, isn't that neat? So you just like bump it down with your hand and bump the other one down, and you're ready to go. Now the windshield, it looks like here's the 4 bolts. There's one there, one there. They actually have a little covering, like a felt covering them up right now. But those are the bolts for lowering the windshield. Alright, so let's look at the visibility. So I put down one of the headrests. So remember I showed you the headrests are easily folded down to give you better visibility. But just in general, you have a lot of visibility back there already. And the headrest just getting away a little bit, but you notice it's even better when you lower that headrest. You can fold down the seats, lower the headrest. The spare tire doesn't stick up that much, so that's not really a big issue. Of course, the backup camera helps out a lot. You can also get blind spot monitoring systems, backup parking sensors. You can get a lot of features to help you out, but just looks really good to me as far as the visibility, even with the privacy glass. Alright, so before we get to the time lapse of the top being removed, here is the window sticker. So remember I told you I'm going to kind of show you all the stuff that's optional. So right now you can use the pause button if you want. There's the base price, standard equipment, interior features, and then it goes to exterior features. And then the optional equipment starts here. So you notice there's a price there. I'm trying to avoid that glare, but you see the price next to each optional equipment. So that continues on over here. And then you get to the next price, which is the next option, the technology group, convenience group, cold weather group, 8-speed automatic transmission, anti-spin differential rear axle, and you know, the soft rider soft top there. The Sunrider, sorry. Alright, there you go. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Vann Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram for allowing me to show off another awesome Jeep. And I'll see you guys next time, but make sure you keep watching because I'm going to have some extra footage at the end, including the time lapse. Thank you.